Hello and welcome to this edition of Shergroup on the Sofa. Wherever you are in the world today, I hope you're having a good day and a good week. So I'm delighted to bring back one of my super guests to the sofa today, Declan Flood from Ireland. And I've asked Declan to talk about the World Credit Congress, of which we are both heavily involved. Before we get into the interview, we just want to give a shout out to what is going to be one of the Congress's super fans, Mr. Ross Saunders in Norfolk, England today. So, hey, Rossi, hope you're doing well. I think Declan's got a little shout out for you.
Yes, hi Ross, good to see you. Hopefully you'll enjoy what we have to say today.
He always loves hearing his auntie's voice. That's what I can say about my football fan. Okay, all right, Declan. Well, I mean, how long have you been involved with the World Credit Congress before we even get into the question? I mean,
Oh, well, I was there right at the very beginning.
right.
And the beginning is probably about 2005. And it started with a conversation with Luis Eduardo from Mexico. And it was Luis's vision, the whole Congress. And I remember we were with another great credit person in Colorado called Walking Bear. I don't know if you ever remember.
Walking Bear, if you're listening to this.
And if he is, I'd love him to get in contact because we've lost contact with him now for a couple of years. And he was one of the main men. And Lewis and I happened to be in Walking Bear's house going through some credit stuff. And Lewis had this mad idea at the time: why not have a World Credit Congress to get all the credit people from the world together? And from that conversation, then the whole thing has grown. It kicked off in 2007 in Mexico, which was fantastic. Then I brought it to Ireland. And after that, now it's been to South Africa, Australia, Romania, and now obviously in Florida in the United States. So it is truly a World Credit Congress and gaining momentum as it goes. So it's a fantastic organization and a fantastic event.
And what do you think? I mean, in terms of what it does, because this is what people are asking me. Well, what does it? What does it do? And what's its significance? I mean, how would you answer that? With nearly 20 years, I didn't realise you've been involved for nearly 20 years. What do you think of its?
My profile there says I have over 20 years experience, and I explain to people that is never going to change. it is not a lie, and if people knew how many years I had, they wouldn't believe I was that old. Anyway. What is new? I suppose the fact that it's a World Credit Congress and the fact that you get to meet and interact with people from all over the world. And sometimes if you're working in credit, either as a credit controller or a credit manager, sometimes just the reassurance to know you're not going mad can be valid enough.
Yes.
And all the problems and the issues that you're having. And in a lot of companies, credit can be a lonely position because you're kind of sitting there, if you're doing your job, somewhere between sales and finance. You're making sure that sales are profitable sales, and everything that goes wrong ends up in the credit department. And it can be a lonely job. And I suppose just an opportunity to get together from people all over the world and just see, number one, maybe things aren't so bad where you are. And the kind of problems that you're currently having, the people in the room have probably already overcome those problems. So that's really, and what I find is that credit is universal. The issues, the problems in Mexico, South Africa, United States, and Ireland are exactly the same. There are regional differences and different legislations and laws we have to deal with. By and large, the credit function is the credit function.
Yeah, and actually, I've been connecting with a lot of global credit managers, which is fascinating, the breadth of their role. And they all say the same thing, that it can be a lonely position. As one lady in your part of the world actually has got a target of $100 million a month. Her and her team have got to collect in 18 team colleagues. That's a lot of money, month on month to hit that target.
Yeah, and there's so many things that can go wrong between the order, the dispatch, and
Yeah,
credit. And to me, the payment is the confirmation from the customer that they're happy with everything.
of
And
course.
and that doesn't never happens by accident. It is never easy. A great Californian once said, "The only thing easy about money is losing it."
Hit by a true American.
Yes. So yeah, so look, in terms of people thinking about coming along, it's just a wonderful opportunity, and and we learn from everybody we meet, and like there are regional and national conferences, and even continental conferences. This is the World Credit Congress, and there will be people there from all over the world, and just to see what's happening in other places, it just gives you such an insight, and it gives you camaraderie, it reconnects you, and I'm hoping it gives you that kind of enthusiasm and burst that you need to go back to the desk filled with new ideas and a new brand of enthusiasm, and that's really for me what the whole thing is about.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
somebody with huge experience and been to many of these and seen the benefit of it. So if you're thinking about coming, and then take a leaf out of Declan's book. So you were having this conversation with Abe Walking Bear and Lewis back in Abe's house. I have had the pleasure of working with Abe actually in another network in America, so I do know him and wish him well. And I mean, so 20 years ago, you were a young credit professional or younger. So, when Lewis kind of outlined this idea, how did you kind of get involved, and how did you get more involved over time?
Oh, I love the concept. I absolutely love the concept. And I suppose my role, well, my company is Irish Credit Management Training, so I focus on the island of Ireland. Through the Institute of Credit Management, I got involved with areas like FECMA, and that's the Federation of European Credit Management Associations, and then onto the world stage, and just the thoughts of interacting with other people from around the world just excited me, and that's why from 2007 in Mexico, the next Congress was in Ireland. We held it here and again 2009. If you remember back, a lot of people watching us probably were in school back then, or think it's ancient history we're talking about.
Oh my God! Now you're really dating me. I'm like,
yeah, I know. Because I was in a room of finance directors that I happened to mention 2008, and not one of them was working. Saying, well, no, I was in college or I was in school, which shows how old I am. And that obviously, the crash that came. So 2009 probably wasn't the best year in the world to run a Congress. However, we had a wonderful get together, and just kept the legacy going. And we've gathered people like Joseph and Eugene, and
yes.
from four corners of the world. And these are knowledgeable guys who really know their stuff. They're committed, and I think that's part of somebody just arriving, to see the commitment and passion that people have. So some people think there's something wrong with loving credit. That we're sad people. Well, maybe I am a sad credit person. I've worked in it all my life. I love the challenge of it. I love the just the problem solving elements of it. And I think once we can see that and interact with positive people, it just changes everything. So yeah, I've attended all but Australia. That's the only one I didn't get to, but I was in Romania, South Africa a couple of times, and Dublin. So it's been a wonderful journey, and Orlando is certainly the icing on the cake. I can't wait, and I know we're all so looking forward to meeting everybody over there. It is going to be wonderful.
Well, we are looking forward to, I live in this part of the world, so this is a hometown for me. But of course, so many flights arrive in Orlando for all the reasons that we understand, with all its attractions and just a fantastic place, and it's an easy place for people to get to. So that's why Lewis chose me, or invited me, and I chose Orlando because it was really in my backyard, and I knew that everybody from around the world could get here. I mean, Eugene's coming in from South Africa, you're coming in from Ireland, Joseph's working out his flight from Germany.
Yeah.
Lewis has got an easy trip from Mexico. I mean, everybody, you know, in terms of the steering committee is coming here to support the event. And I mean, the key benefits for credit professionals, what we're doing, you know, as you know, the theme of this year's Congress is building a global credit community.
Yeah.
I think that it's uniquely placed to do that from America, because so many people look to America for new ideas and innovation and leading tech, you know, coming out of Silicon Valley, and you know, different platforms that are here. I mean, what do you think the key benefits are for credit professionals, and in particular US credit professionals coming to this Congress? What do you
think? Well, I think working from the theme of building a credit community, the number one benefit is networking. You know, meeting other people, and you know, I've often said sometimes the breaks are as important as the sessions and the workshops. You know, where you get to meet and talk to other people, get new ideas, new insights. So in terms of benefits, you know, networking to me is one. The other thing which runs side by side as the World Credit Congress is the whole exhibition area. And that's one thing where, you know, you can get to see what's happening in the world, the new technologies, the new systems, artificial intelligence, conversational AI. And really, it's unbelievable, you know, automated cash allocations, and you know, just how intelligent these machines are. And I think if we're to progress into the future, we're going to have to be aware of what technologies are available, and more importantly, what they can do to help us. So, you know, in terms of machines taking over, I honestly believe machines will never take over. We need to guide them and point them. We need to know what's available. And you know, with all the exhibition stands and stuff, you know, people coming to just to take the time, go around, see the different technologies, what's available. I think that's a huge benefit as well. And then hopefully listening to the speakers. So there is a huge platform of speakers assembled as well on lots of different topics. So between the speakers, the network, the exhibition, you know, there's three great benefits for coming, and also the contacts that you'll make. Certainly people I met in Mexico all those years ago, I would still be in touch with, and they'd still be part of the community. And sometimes it's just good if something specific comes up in a particular area that may be beyond your expertise, just knowing somebody, you know, like for example, you know, if you have anything on late payments in Europe, you know, Joseph would be one of the most knowledgeable people on the planet. So yeah, absolutely. So yes, there are benefits. Just to meet everybody, it's just a great event.
Yeah, and I think from the point of view of the interest that's coming from the US credit industry, obviously we have big shout out to ACA International, who are our diamond sponsor. They are at the top of our sponsorship tree. And thank you so much to Harry Strouser and to Scott Purcell for their very open and welcoming support of the Congress. I know that ACA wants to build its brand internationally as well as here in the US. And Harry is now the MC for the 3 days. We him at the steering committee, and he's going to make sure that the content that we provide, whilst it is international in you know, in the inclusivity of our community, that it really speaks to our American delegates, to make sure that it, you know, it fits with their kind of their work ethos, their process, their people. So it's very, very relevant for them, and we're crafting our program into one which really is very inclusive, but also recognises that we're on American turf and we need to look after our American community. So I'm excited about that. We've also got Mike Gibb from accountsrecovery.net, that tremendous platform which has fresh content every day about collections. Now, getting involved with the Congress and helping spread the word. So that's another great resource that we'll have. And Mike's going to come down and be one of the panel speakers for the event. So who he doesn't know in the US credit industry is nobody's business.
Yeah, and that's one point I'd like to make clear as well, for anybody who's watching who is working as a credit controller, credit manager. You don't have to be a global credit manager or a global credit director or even trading internationally, because what we're talking about here will be sort of best practice in credit, in looking at all the various aspects of credit as well. So even though it's a diverse panel and a diverse people from all around the world, the solutions that we bring and the techniques that we give are very applicable on a day-to-day basis. So I think that's important for anybody watching who's thinking, yeah, I'd like to go along. I only deal in the United States. There's plenty that you will learn and see to be able to apply to the day job. That's so important.
Yeah, I think, and also, I mean, that's kind of like the unique knowledge and insights that the Congress offers. And obviously, we're looking at what the main US credit associations offer, and obviously ACA does a hell of a lot, as does the RMAI. And we want to offer a combination and a little bit more on top of that. Yeah. Plus the personable side of it, I think, is very, very important. You were talking about facilitating networking. You've got buddies from Mexico that you've had over the years. I mean, shall I say, for younger credit professionals, I mean, what do you see the value of these long-term kind of networking relationships you have in credit? Do you reach out to those people from time to time? How does that work for you?
Yeah, great question. What anybody who comes along to the Congress will find out that, people like myself and Eugene and Joseph, and even though we may be sort of on a platform and, build as world credit leaders, we all remember our times in a credit control office. We've been there, done that. We're not guys who read books. We lived and, walked the walk. And you will find that everybody is so generous with their time and their expertise. And even young credit professionals, all we want to see is a little spark of enthusiasm. And, the generosity of, and anybody I have ever spoken to, and people who certainly will be far higher academically than me, they'll take time to sit down, explain things, and it's just that kind of community. And I think credit is funny that way. There are so many lifetime professional credit people. Now, there are people, it's just a job, and that's fine, and if you like it, do it, and if you don't, get another job. That's the way you do it. There are lifetime professionals who just have a passion for and that's something that comes through loud and clear from the panel. And certainly we love seeing new enthusiastic people coming up and coming through, and we give them every encouragement and help. And certainly from an Irish perspective, I'm quite happy to share. I tell people I have no copyright signs on any of my material, because anything I share, I either robbed it from somebody else or I made it up. So they're welcome to it. So they will find that generosity and that knowledge there. So yeah, it's That's
I
what I
get
would say.
that, and again, like you, I have relationships in credit. Although my business is a subset of the credit industry in the UK, but I have a sub, I have long-term relationships, and we're very fortunate that Philip King, who was one of my heroes in credit, he is coming to speak to Congress about his life, just like you said, starting at the ground floor and working his way up and ending up being a policy official for the UK government for small business,
Yeah.
with a particular emphasis on payment and encouraging payment on time. So I think there are some real success stories amongst the people that are coming to speak. And indeed, what I would say to, and perhaps we shouldn't say young person, because I don't want to be ageist, but if you're coming to credit as a second career or an ancillary career, or you're just changing career at any time of life, you don't need to be young. You could be new to credit, right? But I think there's a real harmony in this industry, which makes the Congress even possible. To get credit people to gather in one place and to share their experiences and to lean on each other, particularly with globalization and people having to do much bigger jobs than when I started in credit. I mean,
oh, it's vast now. And the scope of credit is so wide. So whether it's, from credit risk assessment on one side to collections, communications, there's so many different aspects that you have to master. You have to be financially literate, you have to be sales aware, you have to be marketing competent. There's so much involved in being a credit manager. It's not just the old-fashioned view of the debt collectors or the enforcers or whatever. This is, to me, this is the heart of customer service. And when people do this job right, they see how their role is pivotal in the whole business in terms of managing the customer's expectations and making sure that they get paid. And then there's no conflict there whatsoever between delivering excellence and being paid on time. That's good business as far as I'm concerned.
And of course, that whole philosophy that you've just outlined there crosses the globe in any country. It's the same approach, the same process, although there may be local differences, but essentially it is that customer service part of what you do.
Yeah.
So this year, as you know, I mean, we're talking about trends and innovations of credit management. As the host of the Congress, I have kind of pinned my flag to the mast of saying, I don't want death by PowerPoint. So if anyone was coming to Congress and thinking that they were just going to be sort of lectured to all day long with PowerPoints that were not up to snuff, that's not the environment we're actually creating. We're actually creating a stage in the middle of our large ballroom area where we're going to have vendors around the outside. So the vendors are also included in the discussion, and we're going to have panel sessions with the great and the good, like yourself, Declan. Yes, hearing about a topic, but then facilitating a conversation around that topic to make sure that people get their questions out on the floor, and they can ask you directly, and for the benefit of the entire audience, how you might deal with a given situation or what you think about a new piece of tech. How does that sound to you? Does that sound like a good format?
Oh, it's wonderful. Yes, and I think people have gone beyond, being spoken at this stage in terms of Congress.
Yes.
So by involving people, by breaking it out, and certainly in Dublin we had a number of panel discussions and workshops and getting people into huddles working on specific areas, and we gave vendors the opportunity as well to showcase the solutions that they bring. And I think all that sort of interactivity, rather than just sitting in a place looking at a PowerPoint presentation and some genius reading all the words off the thousands of words. Yeah, I've been in those too. No, thank you.
No. So I think, again, if you're listening to this interview and you're thinking, maybe you were thinking about sponsoring or exhibiting at the Congress, and you were thinking, well, you know, what is the format like? I mean, honestly, we are looking for innovation from our vendors and our exhibitors and our sponsors. We're in a very cool environment at the Margaritaville Resort, which is picked for its cool vibe. You know, it's not your main sort of huge corporate hotel. It's got a cool vibe, and we want people that are going to come along. We've got Jason Highbrand coming from Collaboration Room AI. What a fantastic piece of software that is, allowing credit people to work from home and creating a secure environment around them, so that they don't have to go to the office full time. You know, remote working is here, and Jason's product is absolutely superb at that, facilitating that and helping collection agencies and credit departments to support remote working, either in a hybrid or a full-time model. So we're very excited to have him on board. In terms of just the global audience, the international aspect, credit management. I mean, you've got a training product. I mean, that's what you do, Declan, isn't it? Through Irish Credit Management, and you're involved in training.
Yes.
What do you think in terms of a worldwide perspective? This Congress gives attendees.
I think, for one, it gives a great understanding that, you know what, people are people, no matter where you go. And there are far more similarities than differences, as far as I am concerned. And it's all very well to sit in a bubble and look at all these, you know, far-flung places. When we get to meet people, particularly credit people, because I think credit people they tend to be down to earth. We never forget where we came from, and or have any notions or ideas about ourselves. So from that perspective, you know, just interacting and where you have the common theme of credit permeating it, just the connections happen. And it's so fantastic. One Canadian speaker once said to me, he said, Declan, he said, us guys tend to put our trousers on one leg at a time. And I thought it was kind of clever that, yeah, there are things we all do, no matter where we're from, what you know, ethnicity or what background or what nationality or whatever. So and in credit, you know, we have that, you know, universal language as well, and just to see all sorts of different shades and languages from it, it's just the most wonderful thing, you know, just to get that global perspective.
From your diversity and inclusivity are, again, the hallmarks of the Congress, which has been happening really, as you just heard Declan say, for the last 20 years, so almost before it became a thing. I think the Congress
absolutely
was addressing that anyway, for everybody that's listening to this. So from your experience in Dublin, what kind of workshops and seminars do you think really worked well for the attendees and the vendors? You know, because we have a vendor fest day on the last day. What do you think worked well for
I think from a practitioner perspective, it's seeing something new. And they want to see, and so I have absolutely no doubt, Claire, the star of the show at the World Credit Congress is going to be a piece of software that hasn't been invented yet. And that's how quickly this space is moving. And when we see, as I say, like we had sections now on conversational AI, where you know, people are talking to a computer and have no idea they are talking to a computer. and just the intelligence that's out there, and then the application of that intelligence. And I think that's what people want to see. They want to see new innovations, new ways of doing old things, and then working out themselves how that can be integrated into their business for the benefit of all. So for me, the highlight of the show was the technology side, because it's just, it's not just about change, it's about how fast the pace of change is quickening. So, and it's just limited by people's imagination now at this stage. It's amazing, and it's something that we need to embrace, incorporate, and in order for us to stay vital within the business as well.
I think that's a very interesting soundbite you had there. The most interesting thing at the Congress will be the piece of technology that hasn't been invented yet. So if you're working somewhere in the world on a piece of technology for the credit industry, all its different facets, in any facet, and you want to showcase it, or you want to get some reaction to it from credit professionals that know how that piece of tech could sit in their process, this is the place to come. I mean, this will give you, a worldwide perspective of it, not just for one market, but for many markets.
Yeah, and the other thing you'll get as well, Claire, even if you're sort of at beta phase or whatever of product development, by getting the honest opinions of the top credit people in both the United States and around the world, it might even be a help with the product development. Even if there isn't a product ready to go to market yet, if you're almost there, to get the valuable input of the attendees, and people love sharing their ideas, and you'd find it'll be just great. So it doesn't even have to be a finished product, although no. I know a lot of them will want to say.
No, so maybe there are a few advisory board members that you haven't yet appointed that you're looking to put on your board of your fintech company, right? Who actually know what you're trying to do, and see whether or not it will actually work. So, and actually fly. So I think that's exciting if you're in that space. I mean, how do you touched on AI, and you quite rightly said that we're not in a Terminator scenario here. I mean, machines are not going to replace the efficiency of the human brain, but not in our lifetime anyway. I don't suppose for a few lifetimes yet. But what do you see as the future of credit management, Declan? How do you see that working out?
Yeah, well, what I do see is that technology will remove all the mundane tasks, all the boring tasks, the invoicing, the cash allocations, the data verification, and all that kind of stuff that has been such a big part of credit management. So I think automation is there for good. I think part of where the challenges for credit is in terms of the balance between automation and human interaction. And I think, we need people to bring the vision and the passion and the drive to what is required to define what's needed, and the standards and setting the standards. That's what we bring to the party. AI can never do that. No. And then we look to see how that can be implemented. And certainly, and one of the topics I'll be speaking on is the whole people dimension of it. So it's a different world now, where it's not just about people sitting down at a desk and doing it. It's about getting the job done in the easiest, most cost-effective, most efficient way we can. And then that we have time to oversee it and manage it and make sure that everything, and that is always going to be a full-time job that needs human oversight, because, there are so many variables in credit. We never get everything 100% right. It's just impossible. So the perfectionists out there, take solace in the fact that no, we never get everything perfect. If we get it 99.9% of the time, most of the time, we're doing okay.
I'm loving this interview because there are so many sound bites that are coming from you.
Good, well, use them.
I'm going to use them. So, guys, if you're listening to this interview, I'm going to kind of like repurpose pieces of it for our social media because we're building a big community out there. And I want this guy and his colleagues, you know, things that sort of drop off them, you know, as pearls of wisdom. I want you all to take them on board. And there are some great ones here today. So, last question for you. What advice would you give to someone attending the World Credit Congress for the first time to make the most of their investment and their experience in coming to Orlando?
Yeah, I think number one is embrace the experience. And walk in that door, not with your head down, looking at your shoes, going, "Oh, I have to go to this credit congress." So walk in, you know, with your head up and your shoulders back. Interact with as many people as you can, and I think that is so important. Even if it's at the coffee break, the lunch break, whoever you're sitting beside, interact, embrace people, and even if they're interesting speakers, you'll find them most approachable and generous with their time and their expertise. Yeah. So not to be intimidated and go, "Oh, he was on the stage." Look, we're all people, and that is that. The other thing is obviously to go around the stands and talk to the exhibitors and see what's new and see what they're doing and what the innovation is and what the application is. And even if it's not directly related to your business, I find every single interaction with somebody else, you learn something. If you take something from every interaction, or you can take something from every interaction. And then following the Congress, what I would definitely do is just take time out, and even if that's your travel time back to wherever you come from, just to assimilate the program and look at what you can do and what you need to do to bring this back to your office. You know, because it's all very well seeing this World Credit Global thing. No, it is a global platform that's designed to help you sitting at your desk to do your job better. So that's really what to do. And the other thing that I hope they find is that there's so much positivity around credit. You know, this is not a negative. You know, if you think you're going into a room with 200 debt collectors and, you know, they are wonderful people. They tend to have a positive, and the people you mentioned, like Joseph and Philip King and Eugene, they are positive people. They are solution focused. They are real world practitioners. And, you know, if you're coming to the Congress for the first time, not to be intimidated by any of these guys, and to bring it back to yourself, and not to be afraid to ask questions, you know, and in the open forums and in the circular room. If you do have a question, please interact, ask questions. Nobody is going to ridicule anybody for a stupid question. That is never ever going to happen, because there is no such thing as a stupid question. So and make sure that you get the answers that you want, and you know, embrace it though. I think that's, to me, that's the most important, to block off the couple of days, to look forward to it, to arrive with a positive attitude, to meet as many people as you can, to have fun, to learn, and to go away with lots of new ideas that are not just airy-fairy, they're real, they're practical, that can be put into use the next day.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think that whole point about coming to the Congress with, you know, an open and being in a good place, you know.
Yes.
And I have to say that I'm one of those people that actually find it, I can be a bit shy, you know, when I'm walking into a new place. But what I want to say to everybody that's watching is that I know the guys who head this up, they're all lovely, very welcoming, very supportive folk. And then I also have my own experience. We have our event planning team. We have, you know, we've put on a really fun program for people. Cocktail night, the first night, and then Jimmy Buffett tribute band with some soft rock. So if you're into Jimmy Buffett, come on down to Florida. And then the Tuesday night, we're having the Global Credit Awards. We've got much more to talk about on that.
Yeah.
So again, you know, and then just really little competitions. You know, I really want to see some interesting stands around the edges of the auditorium, and you know, even just hearing you speak there, you know, who's going to be the best networker at this event, you know, getting a little prize for being the best networker and really going around and talking to as many people as possible. We'll be watching for that, and there'll be a little thank you for doing that. And I already know some people that are going to try and get that award. And that doesn't include you, Declan. Because you already know everybody.
Yeah, and if I won the prize now, they'd be all screaming fix, you know. So no, I won't enter for that. No, and there are ways of doing it. And in fact, you just reminded me, I didn't share with you. We had a way of doing that in Dublin that worked incredibly well.
Okay.
So, but look, that's exactly what it is. It's about interacting, and certainly the awards. I know that's another conversation. Just recognizing excellence in credit, to me, is just so important. And I think everybody here, if they're working in credit, who's listening to this, you know, that pursuit of excellence, that's what it's all about. It's not just, you know, my favorite line, I'd say my children will probably write this on my epitaph, and it's this. I've always said to them, here's a line: if you ever have to say it'll do, it won't. You know,
yes.
So if you ever catch yourself saying, it'll do, no, it won't. And it's that kind of pursuit of excellence that, no, we're not going to settle, you know, we're moving it to the next level, and that's what we'll be pushing. So no, Claire, it's going to be wonderful, and I just hope as many people as possible, certainly from the United States, come out and meet with us and just experience the whole experience. I'll have to sack that.
Well, you're such a great ambassador for the event. When we've known each other for a long time, but obviously I've got to know you on a deeper level with the Congress, and I'm so pleased that you're in my network, and thank you for all that you do in promoting credit management both in Ireland and the rest of the world. You're a fantastic resource and so personable. Honestly, it's a pleasure talking to you. So for everyone who is looking at this on YouTube, you know, in the show notes we have Declan's website. You can contact him on LinkedIn. Just check him out at Declan Flood. He's got his website for his ICMT training company on there. So please check out Declan's resources. For those of you that are watching this, I'm Claire Sandbrook. Shergroup on the Sofa is my little YouTube show that I've built up over the months to promote great people like Declan and all the terrific people that I have in my network, which spans a long time. And they all
over
have
20 years.
And they all have, what I love about this is they all have such interesting backgrounds and journeys. All we're doing is sharing our experience, and hopefully it gives you the confidence to book a ticket to Orlando in October and say, I want to be there with Claire and Declan and the rest of the team. You can check out my company's website at shergroup.com. We're on every channel. We've got a channel for the World Credit Congress on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we haven't done TikTok yet, but we've done LinkedIn. And we're growing our community, and our mission is following Declan's advice. It's not it'll do. It's like, let's have a big global credit community that is joined up on all these different channels, not assimilated to any one association or country, but let's just join the whole world up and put it all into social media and network with each other, and then come down and meet in person in Orlando.
It will be great.
All right. So thank you so much, everyone, and thank you, Declan. Appreciate
it's been a pleasure, as always.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. See you, Claire. Thanks. Bye bye.
All right. Cheers, Declan.
See you now. Bye.
Bye.